Hi, I'm Brian McLachlan and this is Deep Thought Balloon, little videos about comic stories, pop culture, and other stuff. Let's talk about classic comic book cover composition choices. Back when comics were on the spinner rack at convenience stores, they needed a cover that would grab the reader and make them want to pick it up. There weren't review sites or pull files, so they got really good at creating dynamic covers that asked to be picked up. There's a lot to learn about composition by looking at their techniques, so let's check them out. Technique 1, the circle. To contrast the rectangular shape of the page, a circle's an obvious choice. You can find a circle-shaped object to use, you can use the circle as a flat ornamental design, you can wrap type around it, use negative space. There are lots of choices. Number 2, verses. Stories are usually about conflict, so centering the main struggle is a strong choice too. Person versus person versus object, person versus text or metaphorical object. You can bring the faces closer for stronger emotional impact. Number 3, looming figure. The main conflict in a versus can feel like an even fight, but a looming larger figure can show the hero is overwhelmed in a battle they're sure to lose. It can be a head or a whole body or a symbol, even the character themselves to show an internal struggle. Side note, heroes' evil mirror characters are often drawn bigger and more hulking to make the threat feel more dangerous, and I think this has the side effect of subconsciously saying that physical displays of strength are villainous. I think that's cool. Anyways, number 4, lots of figures. Teen books often want to show off the whole roster of action figures. You can use a bigger character or object, a bit like the looming figure element, to get some size difference, or pick 1 or 2 characters to focus attention on with a circular spotlight or color choice. Number 5, melee. If you combine lots of figures with verses, you get a dynamic fight scene. Here we have a well-planned foreground, middle ground, and background, a post-fight melee, and one that uses color to focus attention in a busy scene. Number 6, strong foreground element. Picking an object or person to put in extreme foreground helps build depth of scene, while giving cues as to what's important in the story. Here, Batman's face gives emotional punch, while Hulk's hand helps build mystery. Number 7, coming at ya. Often combined with the last one, it's using figures, objects, type, etc., coming dynamically at the viewer or into the frame from off-panel. Bonus if the object is connecting the foreground to the middle ground with tapering trails, chains, etc. Number 8, romance. If you combine strong foreground elements or a looming figure with a versus, you get most romance comics. They use depth to show the gulf between would-be lovers and bring their emotional states close to the viewer for more impact. Number 9, framed. While comic panels have gutters between the images, these covers use lines to separate elements. These are often 2 worlds or 2 depths. It's a versus of locations, an approaching or crossing of boundaries like supernatural and natural, dangerous and safe. Number 10, picture-in-picture. The frame here gives us a vision into a world that isn't there at the moment. It's often a reflection or a poster or a painting or a screen. It can be flat or it can be deep. Number 11, text. A graphic design approach can lead you to playing with the type. It can signal that the comic is going to have a strong design element inside, or perhaps a sense of whimsy or psychedelia. Number 12, full figure. This is less dynamic on its own, but useful when you want to highlight one character over another because of a guest appearance, a cameo, a costume change, emotional state, or dynamic pose. It can be flat like a magazine cover if you've got a fashionable vibe to your comic. Number 13, gags. If the selling point of your story is your humor, or scares, you can give a little taste of the punchlines and twists the person will find inside the book. So I think that's why this cover is one of people's all-time faves. Sure, it's a popular character on a popular book and a popular storyline, but it's also a circle, a picture-in-picture. There's a gentle versus between Logan and Kitty, a metaphorical versus between them and the spotlight, and you get a many-figures group headshot. It combines them all into one. Maybe this will help you come up with some cover ideas for your books. The trick is to figure out which elements will help you build your cover. When coming up with the cover for Complete the Quest, I tried out a bunch of these techniques. It's a book where all 6 characters are equally important, so I wanted to have them all on the cover. It felt like too much in the lots of figures composition, so I had to split the heroes into groups of 3, like they get split up in the book. So I put them in the foreground and background. I could have pushed the tentacle thing coming in from the extreme foreground to background to do a coming at ya, but that made the tentacles the star of the picture, and they're not, so I made them smaller. And instead of a versus showing the main conflict of the book, the back-to-back pose shows that the characters have each other's back. It's us versus the unseen villain, which is the theme of the book. I found inspiration in Darwin Cook's Teen Titans cover. I hope you'll find inspiration for your next project comes easier now that you know more about what elements you're looking for. Good luck and keep thinking deep thought balloons.